Good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 14th of May. It is the first day that we've moved to COVID level 2, and which means we've got almost normal life back. We can go to the malls, we can go to the shops, we can go to restaurants and cafes. But there is a but, because we're limited to the group size of 10 people. So this created a problem for some sectors, and it has also created a problem for churches because 10 people is a bit smaller than the average church. So at the moment, churches have to find other ways of meeting. We are all praying that the 10 people limit will be extended in 2 weeks' time, when the government will review the current guidelines. In the meanwhile, we at Delta Baptist will continue to offer our services online. So you can follow our daily devotion and, of course, our Sunday services here on the Delta YouTube channel or on Facebook. And, you know, as much as the technology has offered us a welcomed solution over the past weeks, most of us feel that church online is not quite the same as regular church. And we may ask ourselves, why doesn't it feel the same? Why is church online not quite what we experience when we meet together in real life? Well, the first thing that comes into mind is that church is about coming together, and it's about congregation, it's about fellowship. And I thought, hang on a minute, let's think about these words. I mean, we use these words, congregation and fellowship, quite a bit in the context of church, but what do they mean actually? So I thought, well, how about we have a look at the dictionary and find out what the dictionary is saying about church, about congregation and fellowship. So when I looked up the word congregation, it said, very simply, congregation is a group of people who come together, who congregate together. When I looked up fellowship, it said, in the context of church, fellowship means communion, joint participation. Now, when we say communion in the context of church, most of us jump into Holy Communion, the Lord's Supper, but communion as a word also means unity in the wider sense, not only in the sense of Holy Communion. So let's bear that in mind, that communion is about unity, and unity within a congregation, within a community, is something that we cherish. It's the unity between us, the unity between people. We accept each other because we want to feel that we're together, we're united into one group. So I'd like us to think of communion also in this sense. When we put the two words, congregation and fellowship, together, we can actually say that church is where we gather together for the purpose of joint participation. Now, when we go to the online environment, we can communicate with each other, but we cannot come together. Not in the real sense. And not being able to come together means that we cannot engage in joint participation. Not in the real sense. And if we can't come together, we can't do things together, there is something about church that is missing. because there's something about the coming together in the real sense that just cannot be translated to the online environment. Now, over the past years, we've been moving more and more of our daily life to the online environment. It's convenient, and we can do it from home, we can do it from the beach, we can do it from anywhere in the world. We can order things online, we can email, we can communicate with each other. We can do almost everything online. But that got me thinking, if when we transferred church, which is a lot about coming together, to the online, it didn't feel quite right. It doesn't feel quite right. What happens to other things that involve coming together, which is relationships? Okay, so what does the more and more moving to the online environment, what does it do to our relationship? What does it do to our family life? What does it do to our friendships, social life? What does it do to our communities? And then I thought, well, during the lockdown, a lot of us talked about the lack of social life, the lack of communicating with people. Even though we've got smartphones and iPads and internet and all the things, we still felt that it wasn't quite right. And actually, we have a good reason for not feeling that it's actually right, because God did not intend us to live in isolation. He specifically designed us to crave, to want very much, to thrive in relationships. We need to be with one another. We are at our best when we experience life's lows and highs together. And indeed, as the letter to the Hebrews, which is one of the books of the New Testament, in chapter 10, verse 24 and 25, it says, "Let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, but encouraging one another." Not neglecting to meet together. That is very important here to remember, that God actually invites us not to neglect meeting together, because when we meet together, we encourage one another. And what do we encourage one another to? We encourage one another to love and good works. That does mean a lot, doesn't it? So, online has its merits. It's good, it's useful, and it has helped us a lot in this time of lockdown. It relieved a little bit of the feeling of isolation, but it doesn't really replace real life. I'd like to leave you with that thought tonight, and I hope that you've enjoyed this little expedition into the dictionary and the Bible, and I hope that you will want to share this expedition with others. So click on the share button and click the like, because when you click the like, you're actually spreading the word. So please help us spread the word. I bid you good night. I hope you will have a blessed evening, and I hope to see you soon. I'll be here tomorrow, and please don't forget to join us on Sunday. Have a blessed evening. God bless. Good night.